Will the mirror of intimacy destroy or heal your relationship? We're going to talk about that right now. Hi, I'm Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, Mind Matters, where I talk about my own personal struggles, having borderline personality disorder. I talk about narcissism and schizophrenia. I talk about my unethical psychologists who I've had sexual relationships with, licensing boards, and a plethora of other topics related to mental health. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I'm not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology, so I cannot diagnose you. And all I ask in turn of you is your kindness and respect always in the comments. Now, today's topic is about intimacy. Intimacy can either destroy your relationship or heal your relationship. Intimacy itself can be triggering for people who are not securely attached. Now, we've talked about attachment styles in other videos. There's secure attachment, there's avoidant attachment, there's anxious attachment, there's fearful avoidant attachment. I would say that I'm fearful avoidant right now. Intimacy is a mirror of what we look in a mirror and it reflects back ourselves. Intimacy is into me. So when we look at our partner who we are intimate with, and I don't mean just romantic relationships. It could be a mother-daughter relationship. It could be a child and parent or best friend relationship. It doesn't have to be solely romantic relationships. But into me, that's intimacy. And it's the other person who we're intimate, very close, being vulnerable. When you are intimate, you open yourself up for attack. That's what intimacy is being vulnerable. That other person is holding a mirror back to you and showing you who you are. And this is when it can be either healing or destroying to you. If there's a discrepancy of what someone else, your intimate partner, is showing you who you are, and you think you're not that person, you think that you're someone else, that's your blind spot. So if, for instance, if I think I've convinced myself I'm a very positive, vivacious, bubbly, outgoing, gregarious person, and I believe that about myself, that's who I see myself as, and then I get into a relationship, whether it's with a sexual partner or whether it's just best friends with another woman, and they say, you're not really gregarious and bubbly and intellectual. You really are a miserable, bitter woman who comes off as a victim. So that's not who I see who I see myself as. That might be a blind spot, meaning that's true, that I really am, a bitter, angry woman who's, these things that someone else is picking up that they see in me. But I don't see that. It's like a blind spot, I don't see that in myself because I've either, denied that I am that way, I distorted myself into such I distorted myself into something, I wish I could be, or, a much grander version of like a fantasy figure that I wish I was. And this person who is intimate, who can see into me, intimacy, see into me, this person is holding up a mirror saying, no, you're not gregarious and bubbly and outgoing and intellectual. You're really a very bitter and resentful and rageful woman who, has no friends. And, they're holding that up to me like the Wicked Witch in, what was it? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Snow White. But that's not what the Wicked Witch, whatever, she didn't want to hear that, right? The mirror's telling her, Snow White's the fairest. Well, we can't have that. I'm supposed to be the fairest one of all. So that's where it can destroy the relationship right there. You see what I'm trying to get at? That's, you are not the final authority on who you are. All right? What I mean by that is you show up and other people can, will pick up things in you that you deny in yourself. We all do. Come on. Admit it. You deny some of the ugly sides of you. We all do. It's only human nature. I don't want to see my ugly side. Do I want to see myself as a bitter old woman who acts like a victim, who is very unfriendly, who has no friends, who really hates this world and wakes up every day, donning on a mask and pretending to be, cheerful and happy when I got some devastating news yesterday. I found out that my son was beaten. I thought he was only beaten. I told you about the trial. I thought he was only beaten up once. That's not true. He was beaten up several times. I didn't know that. The policeman was there. I almost passed out. Talk about anxiety attacks. I don't want to go off course here, but I broke down in the meeting and I almost fainted. I came that close to fainting. I had to rush out of the room and I collapsed and I had a breakdown. And yeah, I'm a very bitter woman after everything I've been through. Watch some of my other videos. I grew up with a narcissistic mother. I'm very bitter, but I don't like to see that side of myself. And, I do try to come on and put up a good front when I do these videos. And, someone else might show that. And another good example of someone showing you the mirror was when I held the mirror up to the psychologist who sexually rhymes with tape. Rhymes with tape. The psychologist that sexually taped me. Scotch tape. It's YouTube, so I can't. I held the mirror up to him. He denied. He was in denial about himself. Dr. 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗲. And Dr. Richard Geis encouraged that denial. Both of those men told me that I was responsible for the sexual relationship that I had with the psychologist for 2 years, when in fact I wasn't. It's considered tape. You know what I'm trying to say. I don't want to get this. If I say the real word, then this will be taken down. And then I won't be able to tell you these things, because I was a vulnerable patient, and I could not give consent. So when I later found out through other professional people, through female doctors, female psychologists, not only female psychologists who told me this, I looked up the literature about this and found out that things I didn't even know existed, that in over half the states you go to jail for doing that, for having sexual relationships with a patient, because it's not consensual. Even if I agree and initiated it and wanted it, agreed to it 100%, wanted it, it never can be because of the power imbalance there. And when I finally realized all this, then I went to the licensing board and filed a complaint. And I also got a lawyer and was going to sue him. And it was a big mess. But he died of a heart attack before the licensing board could take away his license, because I had shattered the image of who he thought he was. So I had completely destroyed it. So intimacy with me had destroyed everything, not just the what Jim and I shared. The relationship wasn't really a relationship, was it? If it's this, it's not a relationship, right? But at the time, they convinced me it was. It could never be because of the power imbalance. But I had shattered that. That was a blind spot of his. He denied that. He thought of himself as, he really denied a lot of things about himself. He thought he was a good Christian person. He worked with priests. He even wrote lectures for priests and gave speeches to priests about Jesus. And he had this whole other facade that no one ever knew. Now, if these priests who he counseled priests and gave lectures, stand-up lectures to them, if they ever knew he was committing adultery, because after all, I was married. So that, number one, that's the top 10. I shall not commit adultery. He was committing adultery. He was breaking the oath, the Hippocratic oath that every doctor takes, do no harm. They are not ever supposed to have sexual relationships with their patients. So he was breaking the Hippocratic oath. And he was harming me. I turned into an alcoholic over what happened. I never had a drinking problem until my late 40s, my early 50s. Never had a drinking problem in my life. Never. I mean, I could handle alcohol. I'd have maybe a beer or two on a Saturday with pizza. That was it. Or when I went out to dinner, I never drank every day, never touched vodka. He introduced me to vodka. He would take me to the bars after we had sex on Sunday afternoons. He would take me to bars Saturday evenings and then get back to his house and have sex with me and pour more alcohol and keep the alcohol right by the bedside, the night table, and we'd have that. So he really introduced me to heavy, heavy drinking. I never drank martinis in my life before Jim. So when I held that mirror up that reflected back that to him, like my other psychologist, Dr. Eugene Pagani, said, and these were very wise words, he broke his heart. I didn't break his heart. I'm just holding the mirror up, right? Just like when the Wicked Witch looked into the mirror and goes, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all? It's Snow White. So I'm just holding up the mirror to him, and he hates, detests what he's seeing back in that mirror. And he could not live with it. He could not live with what he had done. And that is why he died. And maybe I spoiled the endings of these books, but so that's what I wanted to say about the blind spots, about holding up the mirror, how the mirror of intimacy will either can destroy you or it can heal you. But in the case of insecure attachments, it usually destroys the relationship. That's just a small piece of it. I'm not a psychologist, so and I'm not going to be extensive and go more and more, but I think you got what I'm trying to convey to you in this video. Now, if you're interested in hearing about this story, all the links to these books are down below in the description, all available on Amazon. If you want to support my channel, you can sober me up by buying me a cup of coffee. The link to that is down below in the description as well. And if you are new to my channel, stick around, take a chance, hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free, and you will be notified each and every time a new video of mine comes out. Give it a thumbs up. If you like it, share it with your friends, your family on the social media platforms, and let me hear from you. Your opinion and your thoughts matter to me. I always respond to the comments. If you don't want to publicly say anything in the comments and want to privately talk to me one-on-one, You can always do that because my email address is down below in the descriptions. It's Leann, LEEANN 827 @hotmail.com. So if you just want a little one-on-one with me, feel free to write me. I will respond back to you. And until next time, take care. Let me know what you think. And have a great day. Bye-bye.